So let us start amendments in accounting standards. As you know, on 30th March 2016, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs have issued one companies accounting standard amendment rules. So it is mentioned there certain standards have been amended. But the amendments are very few, really speaking. In AS2 there is one amendment. In AS4 there is one amendment. AS6 has been omitted. Then AS10 has a major amendment. So the major amendment in AS10, which is now called property, plant and equipment. Then there is one amendment in AS13, one amendment in AS21, and there is one amendment in AS29. These are the amendments, one amendment each in AS2, AS4, AS13, AS21, AS29. One amendment each, 6 has been deleted and 10 has been completely revised. So first I will take those small amendments. Now I am going to assume that you know the original standard, because this is amendment discussion, so we don't have the time to discuss the entire standard here. So what is the amendment in AS2? So I'll read this amendment taken as it is without any editing from the MCA notification. Inventories do not include spare part. This is the only amendment. AS2 और कोई चेंज नहीं है, ठीक है. जो आपने पढ़ा है वही कंटिन्यू करते रहना. सिर्फ एक पैराग्राफ रिलेटिंग टू स्पेयर पार्ट हैज चेंज्ड. व्हाट इज दैट? इन्वेंट्रीज डू नॉट इंक्लूड स्पेयर पार्ट, सर्विसिंग इक्विपमेंट and standby equipments which meet the definition of property, plant and equipment as per AS10, which is now called property, plant and equipment. And most of these amendments are there, you will find, is due to amendment in AS10. So wherever in other standard there was any linkage with AS10, those paragraphs got amended. Such items are accounted in accordance with AS10, property, plant and equipment. So what is the amendment? What is the original position? Anybody original position? What is the treatment of spare part, etc.? So under AS2 earlier it was written, following item will be treated as fixed asset. Under AS2, following item will be treated as fixed asset. These items will be treated as fixed asset if two conditions are satisfied. Which are these two conditions? They can be used only in connection with a specific item of fixed asset. A spare part which can be used only in connection with a specific item of fixed asset, and its use is expected to be irregular. And its use is expected to be irregular. Then it will be treated as fixed asset under AS10. Otherwise, it will be treated as inventory. Earlier provision was items like spare parts, etc. will be treated as fixed asset if they can be used. If they can be used only in connection with a specific item of fixed asset. So there is a machine, there is a spare part. The spare part can be used only in this machine. For example, this projector has a lamp. Now this lamp can be used only in this projector. You can't put this lamp in some Sony projector or other projectors. Is it right? And its use is expected to be irregular. It's not a regular item. Then it is fixed asset. If any of these two conditions are not satisfied, then it is inventory. So when is a spare part inventory? When it is not necessarily to be used with a specific item of fixed asset, or its use is regular, then it is inventory. Either it is not a machine specific spare part, or its use is regular. It is treated as inventory item. Now the position is whether it is inventory or not. First you go to AS10. See whether it meets the definition of property, plant and equipment. After some time we'll see that AS10. If it meets the definition of property, plant and equipment, then it is a AS10 item, PPE. If it does not meet the definition of property, plant and equipment, then it will be treated as inventory. So what is AS10 saying on that? An item of property, plant and equipment has following feature. They have a life of more than one accounting year. They are useful for production, rendering of services, for rentals and for administrative purpose. Then it is a property, plant and equipment. It generates future economic benefit. And the last is its cost can be measured reliably. तो ये चार कंडीशन अगर आपने फुलफिल कर दिया तो ये आइटम है प्रॉपर्टी, प्लांट एंड इक्विपमेंट का. वन, इट्स लाइफ इज मोर देन वन अकाउंटिंग ईयर. इट्स मीन्ड फॉर प्रोडक्शन, rendering of services, rentals or administrative purpose. It generates future economic benefit. Its cost can be measured reliably. So if these conditions are fulfilled, then that particular item will be accounted as property, plant, equipment under AS10. So that is amendment. Other than this, there is no amendment in AS2. There is an amendment in AS4, which will have an implication in many of the chapters of accounts. And what is that amendment? Proposed dividend. Earlier accounting standard 4 says event occurring after the balance sheet date, like proposed dividend, is also to be shown as an adjusting event. It will be shown as an adjusting event, and therefore it will be accounted for the respective financial year. That is earlier position. So suppose year ending date is 31st March 17. The board of directors have approved the dividend on 30th June. AGM has approved on 31st of July. Still it will be appearing in the balance sheet in the liability side as proposed dividend of 31st March 17 balance sheet. So what is the amendment now? The amendment is that now it will not be shown in the balance sheet, it will be only shown in the notes to account. You will have to disclose it that the company has proposed a dividend of so much of rupees per share, etc. So it's a non-adjusting event now. Only in the notes to account the disclosure about the fact that company has proposed dividend at a certain rate per share has to be given. So how does it affect your answers? So for IPCC students, there is a chapter called company final account. In company final accounts, after that 2-page trial balance, there are 2-page adjustments. Okay. One of the adjustments is proposed dividend. So what you will do? You will not do anything. अगर आपने क्लास में एडजस्टमेंट किया है P&L अकाउंट डेबिट टू प्रपोज डिविडेंड अकाउंट, तो एडजस्टमेंट मत करना, बस बात खत्म. If you are a CA final student, you have a holding company. So where in many question in the notes, that is adjustments, it's given holding has proposed dividend, subsidiary has proposed dividend, subsidiary की subsidiary has proposed dividend. क्या करेंगे? कुछ नहीं करेंगे. इनफैक्ट आपका काम बहुत इजी हो गया अभी, बिकॉज चेंज सब्सिडरी वाले प्रॉब्लम में क्या दिक्कतें आती थी, पहले वो थर्ड सब्सिडरी डिविडेंड प्रपोज करेगी, दूसरे को मिलेगा, दूसरा प्रपोज करेगी, पहले वाले को मिलेगा, फिर उसमें से माइनॉरिटी का शेयर निकाल के माइनॉरिटी में लिखना है. अब आपको कुछ नहीं करना है. इज इट राइट? ऐसा समझो कि वो है ही नहीं प्रॉब्लम में. इग्नोर इट. एट द मोस्ट यू कैन राइट अ नोट. इज इट राइट that proposed dividend of 5 rupees per share has been declared by holding company, 3 rupees per share has been declared by the subsidiary 1, 2 rupees per share has been declared by subsidiary 2. That's it. तो आपका काम इजी हो गया. तो होल्डिंग कंपनी के कई क्वेश्चंस अब बहुत सिंपल हो जाएंगे. इज इट राइट? जिसमें जहाँ 3-4 कंपनी रहती थी और सभी के सभी डिविडेंड प्रपोज करते थे, तो वो एडजस्टमेंट करना ही नहीं है आपको. Only disclose in the notes to account. That is about AS4. एक adjustment सिर्फ. And what about AS6? Omitted. That will cover in AS10. Depreciation will now be covered under AS10. In AS13 there is one amendment. AS13, what is the only amendment पूरा स्टैंडर्ड चेंज नहीं हुआ है, and that is a very minor adjustment relating to investment property. And what is that investment property? The investment property in accounting standard 13, earlier it was written at will be valued at cost. Will be valued at cost. Now they have just added some more words. What they have added? Will be accounted in accordance with cost model. इतना amendment है as per AS 10. Will be accounted as per AS 10 property, plant and equipment, which means the purpose of writing this line is in cost model, historically first we will calculate the cost and capitalize it, and then we will also provide depreciation, will also provide impairment loss. This is called cost model, cost minus depreciation so far provided minus any impairment loss so far. And this is the same, the cost of any share in any cooperative society or a company, the holding of which is directly related to the right to hold the investment property, is added to the carrying amount of investment property. So this was there in AS 13 earlier also. If you purchase the share of a cooperative society which is necessary to become the owner of a flat in that cooperative society, cost of flat will include cost of share also. So this is already there. One major amendment is in AS 21, and what is that? Proposed तो हो गया, वो AS 21 का amendment नहीं है, वो AS 4 का amendment है. AS 21 amendment is this one. Now even associate under AS 23 and a joint venture under AS 27 will also be consolidated even if the company does not have a subsidiary. Even if the company does not have a subsidiary. Earlier the position was, suppose you have an associate but no subsidiary, then that associate was not required to be consolidated as per AS 23. But then Companies Act 2013 says the definition of subsidiary also includes associates and joint ventures. And then the corresponding amendment is now made in the AS 21 also. So what is that amendment? Just this much. आपको प्रॉब्लम में कोई चेंज नहीं करना है. जो भी आपने अब तक सीखा है होल्डिंग कंपनी AS 23, AS 27 का प्रॉब्लम, वो एज इट इज कंटिन्यू करना है. इज इट राइट? सिर्फ अभी उन्होंने क्लैरिफाई कर दिया, ये हमें पहले से ही पता था. 2013 में ये अमेंडमेंट कंपनीज एक्ट में आ चुका है, स्टैंडर्ड में उन्होंने अभी इंट्रोड्यूस कर दिया उसको ऑफिशियली. बट इवन इफ द एक्ट सेज वी हैड टू डू द सेम थिंग. So a parent which present consolidated financial statement should consolidate all subsidiaries, domestic as well as foreign, other than those referred in paragraph 11. Where an enterprise, this is the amendment, ये paragraph अभी add किया, सिर्फ इतना, does not have a subsidiary but has an associate and or a joint venture, such an enterprise should also prepare CFS as per AS 23 and as per AS 27. So it will prepare two statements. One separate financial statement where investment will appear as per AS 13, and second consolidated financial statement where an associate will be consolidated. An associate will be consolidated as per AS 23 by applying equity method of accounting. By applying equity method. Equity method means your investments carrying amount will be increased when the associate's reserve increases, and investments carrying amount will decrease when the associate's net worth decreases. And in case of joint venture, AS 27 is applicable. So proportionate consolidation method. Proportionate consolidation means you will add the parent company's asset plus parent's company's share in the assets of the joint venture. प्लस पेरेंट्स कंपनी एसेट इन द एसेट ऑफ जॉइंट वेंचर. तो जैसे कि फॉर एग्जांपल ये होल्डिंग कंपनी है एच लिमिटेड, इनकी फिक्स्ड एसेट 100 रुपये हैं, ये जॉइंट वेंचर है, इनके फिक्स्ड एसेट भी 100 रुपये हैं. तो CFS में कितना दिखेगा? और मान लीजिए हमारा शेयर जॉइंट वेंचर में 50% है, तो CFS में ये दिखेगा 150। अगर ये जॉइंट वेंचर है तो सब्सिडरी होती तो 200 दिखता, एसोसिएट है तो 100 ओनली। एसोसिएट के केस में हम एसेट्स और लायबिलिटीज को ऐड नहीं करते हैं। एसोसिएट के केस में हम सिर्फ इन्वेस्टमेंट की कैरिंग अमाउंट को चेंज करते हैं। वी डू नॉट ऐड द एसोसिएट्स एसेट्स एंड लायबिलिटीज with the assets and liabilities of the parent company. Is it right? So since you may be knowing, you may not be knowing, I'm just clarifying. Then AS29. What is AS29? AS29 कौन सा स्टैंडर्ड है? Provisions, हाँ, provisions, contingent liabilities and contingent assets. That's good. So there is one extra paragraph added there. We will not call it as an amendment, it's more addition kind of thing. And what is that? This again amendment is related to AS10 only. Suppose you have a mining right, okay, exploration rights of mineral, digging rights so that you can extract oil, mineral, gas, natural assets from the earth. But there is a condition also that after 3 years, once your mining activities are over, you have to restore the environment. You have to restore, bring it back to the original level. Because when you do the mining, there are big holes, craters type of things created. As if ऊपर की ग्रह से कोई planet आके उसके अंदर गिर गया था, इतने बड़े बड़े holes हो जाते हैं. Is it right? तो बाद में क्या करना है उसको बराबर, उसके लिए AS29 में अमेंडमेंट किया गया. यू हैव टू मेक अ प्रोविजन नाउ, यू हैव टू मेक अ प्रोविजन. इट वाज देयर अर्लियर आल्सो. देन वेयर इज द अमेंडमेंट? नाउ दैट प्रोविजन अमाउंट विल बी मेड एट द प्रेजेंट वैल्यू. अदर देन दिस आइटम प्रेजेंट वैल्यू इज नॉट अलाउड इन AS29. पता है ना, अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड 29 के अंदर जितने भी प्रोविजंस आते हैं उनको डिस्काउंटिंग नहीं करनी है. इवन इफ यू हैव टू पे 4 crore rupees आफ्टर 5 years, it will be accounted as 4 crore only. But for this item, you will compute the present value because the amount is very high. So therefore, time value of money is significant. So the amendment is this line: the amount of provision normally should not be discounted to its present value. ये आपका AS29 का प्रोविजन है. अब उन्होंने यहाँ से कुछ शब्द ऐड कर दिए, एक्सेप्ट इन द केस ऑफ decommissioning, except, ये exception ऐड किया, except in the case of decommissioning, restoration and other similar liabilities that are recognized as a cost of property, plant and equipment. So in AS10 also there is a similar amendment or adjustment. So what I will do, on one hand I have recognized property, plant and equipment. On the other hand I have to recognize a liability also. So the entry for this transaction will be plant and machinery account debit, या property, plant and equipment account debit to provision for liability towards decommissioning, restoration, etc. And what is the amount you will recognize? The amount will be equal to present value of that future liability. Present value of that future liability. That ये भी लाइन ऐड किया गया, the discount rate should be pre-tax rate. The discount rate should be pre-tax rate, not post-tax rate, which reflect the current market assessment of the time value of money and the risk specific to the liability. So it should be discounted, and discount rate should reflect risk premium for the liability and a basic time value of money. Time value of money means what you can earn in a government bond for a similar maturity, and plus the risk premium if there is any specific risk associated with that liability. So that will be the discount rate. Is it right? There is one amendment in AS14 also, but that I have not printed here. Why? It's not relevant for the student. That is basically what is the effective date of amalgamation, etc. In your exam, the amalgamation question is simple. Simple in the sense either it is purchase method or pooling of interest method, compute purchase consideration, pass entries, prepare balance sheet. So आपके स्टूडेंट के लिए उस एडजस्टमेंट का कोई रोल नहीं है. पहले भी हमने कभी वो सब देखा नहीं, इफेक्टिव डेट एटसेट्रा, तो अभी भी आपको जरूरत नहीं। अभी आपको एक जो भी क्वेश्चन आपने अमालगमेशन के सॉल्व किए हैं AS14 के अंदर, you will continue to solve those problem in the same manner. AS14 for student remains same. Are you following? तो बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट बोल रहे हैं कि AS14 रिवाइज हो गया। अरे क्या रिवाइज हुआ, कभी देखे हो जाके? कुछ तो इफेक्टिव डेट की एडजस्टमेंट उन्होंने चेंज की, उससे हमारे अकाउंटिंग पे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता। पूलिंग ऑफ इंटरेस्ट मेथड, परचेज मेथड स्टिल रिमेन्स इन योर AS14. Okay, so these are the amendments. So where is the major amendment? Major amendment is in AS10. So that will be covered in a detailed lecture now. Right? Ready? Okay. Have you got that AS10 sheet?